welcome to another top 5 records video. 3 years ago, I would have said this must have been the most unlikely artist for me to make a top 5 about. Why? Well, I did not listen to country music. I thought country music was, well, for Southern Americans. Very sorry. Until on the Waterloo Square Market in Amsterdam, there was a record salesman, Ruud. And so if you go to Waterloo Square, find Ruud, he'll give you some great records. But he told me, if you like the band, if you like Dylan, if you like all that Americana stuff, why don't you try country? And I thought, you must be joking, man. I mean, are there good country records? How wrong was I? He advised me some titles. And then he said, but if you can find anything from Willie Nelson, I'll promise you, you'll enjoy it. And I was so skeptical about it. I was so skeptical. I mean, Willie Nelson. I mean, I thought, from what I heard, and he's completely, relatively unknown in the Netherlands. I mean, we do not have a big country culture in the Netherlands. I thought, nah, it's not my kind of music. It's not my kind of music. And then the second record I bought from him. I'll come to the first one later in his list. But the second record I bought from his, it's number 5 on this list. It's Yesterday's Wine. And when I started listening to this record, I just couldn't believe how foolish I was to think country music, for whatever reason, might not be something for me. This record, it's a complete beauty. It sounds so beautiful, so intimate. Willie Nelson, I mean, he can write good songs, but he can interpret them. His voice is, I mean, his tonality is not off, or is it? But it's continuous. It is so unique in its timbre, in its way of singing, in the tone. There is nobody who sounds like Willie Nelson, and I just can't continue listening to him. When I bought this album, by the way, this is the Speakers Corner edition, which is fantastic sounding. You just keep on putting it on repeat. This song has, of course, Yesterday's Wine and Going Home, and the beautiful song, Me and Paul. Me and Paul, I mean, it's one of the ultimate outlaw country guys songs. And I learned through the music of Willie Nelson that outlaw country, it is totally my music. It is so sincere. It's so out there. It has so much culture in it. And this kind of country can be very intelligent, but also very emotionally direct. I really started to love the work of Willie Nelson. And then, about 2 years ago for my birthday, I got another Willie Nelson record from a friend of mine. And that one is on the 4th spot. There are some Willie Nelson records which I did not put in this list because I found out walking into his catalog that there are so many good Willie Nelson records. I mean, it's tough to compile a list of them because this man has made so many great records. Nevertheless, I found a 4th spot. And when we're talking about the development of country, I always kind of feel that after the 70s, his 80s period, it's okay what he's doing. It's not bad, it's not great and progressive either. And then in 1998, the man made this. He recorded this in an old cinema. And this is a gorgeous, brilliant record. It is stellar sounding, it's intimate, it is country to a whole new level. It's not the country anymore of pure cowboys. It's the country of an old town with a cinema. I mean, the fact that this is recorded in a cinema, it shapes the way you listen to it. It shapes its DNA. It shapes the fundamentals of this record. And Teatro is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, and I cannot stress out enough that this is one of the albums to buy, not just for any Willie Nelson fan, for any country fan. I would even go as far as to say any music fan. This is an amazing record. I love it. I really, really love it. And that's just the number 4 spot. This man just continued to make great music, because what I have here, the number 3, I'll just Faces and Stages. Faces and Stages. Did I pronounce it right? Faces and Stages. Faces and Stages rocks. This is a concept album before his big concept album, because this is the story of a relationship that broke off. It's a marriage that goes wrong, and side A is the story of the failing marriage from the perspective of the guy, and side B is the perspective of the girl, the male, female. And it's almost like a country opera. I mean, recurring themes. It's pure beauty, and it's so fragile. It's so incredibly fragile. It is a masterpiece of music, and the way it sounds, the way it's recorded. Willie Nelson was in his 40s when he made these steps. I mean, he already had an enormous career as a country musician and a good songwriter. I mean, the song Crazy was written by his in the 60s. He actually, I believe, around this time he even decided to just stop his career and to retire. But then he decided, I believe the record which comes after this one is the one which made him decide to not go into retirement. But he already lived a life as a musician, and then he re-established himself and made a wonderful record. I mean, I found this first US pressing, which sounds gorgeous, really gorgeous. If you can find one, don't hesitate to buy it. Don't hesitate to buy it. Trust me, buy it, listen to it, love it, thank me later. Number 2 spot on this list. It's not even country. Willie Nelson's second best album is not even a country record. As a matter of fact, this was my first Willie Nelson album. I moved into a new apartment, and a friend of mine gave me this, the Mobile Fidelity sound pressing of Stardust. And these are old, actually jazz standards. Willie Nelson sings jazz standards. And when he gave me this, I thought, are you joking, man? Are you joking? You give me a Willie Nelson record and Willie Nelson sings old jazz standards? You're out of your mind, you're out of your mind. And the second you hear Stardust, the second the needle drops on Stardust, it is gorgeous. It's so intimate, it's so beautiful. And after that, it's Georgia on my mind. Blue Skies, Unchained Melody, September Song. Oh man, I get goosebumps just reading these titles. It is so incredibly beautiful, sincere, and it has such a beautiful, warm sound. I also bought a first US pressing. Both sound amazing. I believe both were mastered by Bernie Grundman. If you find this album, yeah, just the same as with the other ones, do yourself a favor and dive into the awesome, wonderful world of Willie Nelson. Again, this is also a masterpiece, 5-star records, all of them. All of these records are 5-star records. Willie Nelson is amazing. And now the number 1 spot. I have been playing this album since the moment I found it, because it wasn't easy to find it over here in the Netherlands. But the moment I found it, I just kept playing and playing and playing. There were days when I would listen to it 3 times in a row, back to back, 3 times. This is one of my all-time favorite records. Redheaded Stranger. Now, 2 years ago, when I was celebrating my birthday, I went to my family, and my family asked, "Oh, come over, have a party." I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll have a party, but on one condition: we're gonna play records, and we're gonna shut the fuck up and listen to records." And my uncle, 70 years old, never enjoyed a single note of music in his life. When I started putting on records, he was in a state of, you know what, I'm gonna go home because I'm not gonna do a listening session. I hate it. Never enjoyed a single note of music in his life. I put this record on, first US pressing of Redheaded Stranger, and the man went silent until after a couple of minutes in, he started tapping along with his feet. He started humming along, and for the first time in his 70-year-old life, he started to enjoy music. And everyone in the room was silent when they listened to Redheaded Stranger for the first time. And it's not strange. I mean, this is a story. This record is a story. It has a certain rhythm. It brings you to the old days of the Western style. It is such a beautiful album. Anytime when he comes back, because it's a concept album, anytime he comes back to the main theme, it's the time of the preacher. You know, you just move along into the story. It's a country opera. It's one of the best things ever put to vinyl. I love this album. If you are reluctant to listen to country, start with this album. Anybody, listen to this. I'm sure you're not going to be disappointed, and it will open up a whole new world of beautiful music. Well, that was my top 5 list of best Willie Nelson records. I'm curious, do you agree? Do you disagree? Please respond below, and see you in the next video.